One bus passenger travelling from Singapore has tested positive for COVID-19. The infection was detected through an on-arrival ART conducted at the Johor Causeway entry point. According to Malaysia's Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, this is exactly why pre-departure and on-arrival testing are in place, as positive cases are to be expected at points of entry. Singapore and Malaysia are aiming to expand this land VTL to general travellers from mid-December. Prime Minister Loong announcing this in a joint press conference today with his Malaysian counterpart Ismail Sabri Yaakob. Discussions are also underway to pilot a sea VTL to allow Singapore cruise ships to call at Malaysian ports.
We aim to expand the VTL land also to include travellers, general travellers. That means not citizens and long-term residents, from mid-December onwards, taking into account the public health situation. I also discussed with the PM about a VTL-C and resuming port calls by Singapore cruise ships to Malaysian ports. And we agreed to work towards aligning safe cruise standards and start discussions on these matters, piloting port calls between Singapore and Malaysia, and also possible VTL to travel between Tanah Merah Terminal and Desaru in Johor.
Both leaders are also in talks on other areas of collaboration, including the Kuala Lumpur-Singapore high-speed rail, with Mr. Ismail suggesting reviving discussions on the terminated project. PM Lee says that Singapore is open to fresh proposals.
Construction is ongoing and we look forward to the RTS system commencing passenger service by the end of 2026. The Prime Minister and I also discussed the Singapore-Kuala Lumpur high-speed rail, and the Prime Minister suggested reviving discussions on the high-speed rail. I responded to the Prime Minister that Singapore and Malaysia had previously reached agreement to terminate the HSR project, and this had been amicably settled and closed. Nevertheless, Singapore is open to fresh proposals from Malaysia on the HSR project, and the two ministries of transport would discuss the matter, and Singapore looks forward to receiving more details from Malaysia so that we can study them and consider the matter again, starting from a clean slate.
Turning our attention to Changi Airport, where the first VTL flights from Kuala Lumpur have landed. Jetstar's 3K684 touching down at around 10 a.m. this morning. The airline also operated the first VTL flight out of Singapore, departing at 7:50 a.m. with 170 passengers on board. Meanwhile, the VTLs for Indonesia, India and Sweden also kicked off today as planned, but in an effort to reduce the risks of importing the Omicron variant, Singapore has deferred the VTLs with Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the UAE.